Blood, today we're going to find out what the hell happened to EA Big.
EA Sports.
Listen, man, EA Big.
It's just a big WTF, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is like.
It's actually, to be honest, it's not even a WTF to EA Big. It's a WTF to EA.
Yeah.
Like, as a whole.
Yes.
Because EA, man, like.
It's crazy.
What's happening?
EA Big was one of those developers that I genuinely believe was for the culture.
For the culture.
Like
100%.
for the culture of like hip hop, for the culture of like X Games, for like it was
just everything.
Like
because like not only the genre of games that they had, but the soundtracks.
Dog. Like I'm on some of their basically the catalog, credit to Wikipedia. And some of them, Def Jam Vendetta. Oh my gosh.
Because EA Big, right? EA Big was, correct me if I'm wrong, people in the comments, but they were the ones to introduce EA Tracks.
Okay.
EA Tracks.
I didn't even
like praise the Lord.
Yeah.
For EA Tracks.
Yeah.
Because just wow.
Yeah. Like
wow.
Even again, like Def Jam Vendetta, like you can play as Little Kim and just slap bitches. Like that's one. FIFA Street 2, FIFA Street 3, FIFA Street, the original one in 2005, Freak Style, NBA Street Home Court, NFL Street 2 and 3. Oh my gosh. NFL Tour and
It just goes on, man.
SSX 3, SSX Blur,
Tricky.
SSX On Tour, and SSX Tricky. EA Big was undoubtedly a powerhouse within gaming that took it to the next level of like experiencing sports. Like playing NBA Street. The first like EA Big game that I played was NFL Street 2, and I played that with my uncle, which is actually the first game that introduced me into American football, which is what I so love and watch now, even though I'm not wearing an American football hat. But it's like that game was just nuts. And over time, it was just one of those things that kind of dissipated into the ether. And no one really was just like, yo, what happened to EA Big? Like, where did it go? You know, and
I definitely asked that question, though. Because there were so many games in that franchise that I absolutely loved.
Yeah.
What's it called? Most Wanted on the PSP being one. FIFA Street 2 being another one.
Yep.
Like, just Chef's Kiss
games. Chef's Kiss
just
gaming.
Chef's Kiss gaming.
It brought arcade to your house. Wow. It literally brought physical arcade to your house.
They were just like fun games that you would just play and just be happy.
Yeah.
Like none of this, I gotta grind out this, I gotta do this.
I need to buy a pack.
Like I need to do
buy the season card or season pass.
I need to get this player because he's so good.
Yeah.
But then he costs real life money. Like
all I cared about was wall running while holding my American football and stepping on someone's back into the pylons. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, or flipping, nutmegging someone and just scoring a disgusting goal. Or just getting a 5 times combo while I'm swirling in the air with my snowboard. That captured the essence of what it was like to game. Like you were physically in a moment where you were like, oh my days, like I'm doing this. I can play this shit for hours or days, weeks even, you know. And I want to credit Stephen Rechtshaffner, who was the creator of SSX.
Nice.
And he is the reason why EA Big became EA Big.
We love you, Steve.
Dog, credit to you. Because, funnily enough, SSX was originally on the Sega Dreamcast.
Yes, it was.
And
it basically derives from what? Is it 1080p snowboarding or something like that?
I believe so.
Something like that.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Some beautiful user will be able to
We'll correct
us.
ourselves here with the name of the actual snowboarding game.
I hope so.
But yeah, it was because I remember playing like that snowboarding game on the Nintendo 64 or emulation of it. And yeah, I believe that's where SSX came from.
Yeah.
And those were like the roots of like just snowboarding games in general.
Yeah.
Because up until up until like that game, that 1080p or correction, and SSX, which came later down the line, there was not really any snowboarding game.
Yeah. And Steven was definitely I would like to say, the first person who really brought it to the next level and created the engine needed to sort of create SSX. He was someone that actually was very heavily involved in X Games as well, which is how SSX became to be what it was today.
It would only make sense, to be honest.
Yeah.
It would only make sense.
And what I found was actually pretty interesting was the fact that EA kind of decided that they wanted to sort of reclaim SSX because the Dreamcast didn't really have the specifications anymore to handle that game. And so that's how you see that transition from SSX going away from Dreamcast, going into PlayStation. And then how that was received and now how that was brought into the community. Essentially what that basically like started off the essence of what EA ended up being. EA Big ended up being. And so like he was like he played a pivotal role, and even like what was beautiful about it was that and I think we'll probably go into it a bit more detail later on, but how sort of it got to a point where EA Big was kind of transcending into the parts where the higher ups would kind of dip their toes into and say, take that out. We don't want that, X, Y, Z.
And I feel like to a certain extent, I'm not sure on Steven's history. Steven, if you're watching this, please just like comment down below if this is true or not. But I feel like because of that, like the higher ups kind of, rooting themselves in EA Big and all that kind of stuff. And Steven being from a X Games like background and all that kind of stuff. I feel like that's where like both worlds colliding. I feel like that's where Black Box was born.
Oh wow, okay.
I feel like I'm not really too sure about the history of Black Box, but I feel like that's where it came into play. Black Box, for those who don't know, they're a development studio. They're the ones who were behind the infamous Need for Speed Most Wanted, the original, not the PSP one or any other version that you've played. Like the PS2 with the M3 GT3. That Most Wanted. But not only that, but they also made basically the Skate trilogy. And the Skate trilogy is literally SSX but with skateboards, basically. And it was just pinnacle arcade gaming, but with an extreme sport to a certain extent, street skating. And I feel like that collision of both worlds, like higher ups kind of take this out, take that out. This a bit too like, it's a bit too fun or whatever, or like this is a little bit too unrealistic kind of thing. Merged with like that kind of radical sports background of like X Games and stuff. I feel like that's where Black Box came.
That's where the collision came.
And they were like, oh yeah, let's make like a skating game, make a sequel to that skating game, and then make a third and final
iteration of it.
Final, because we all know there's a new skate game coming out now.
100%. Finally, Jeebus Crispy. It's been too long. What was funny about that as well was like, even EA Big's an example of basically how when execs get involved, things just get a bit murky and sticky. And this, and I believe this was sort of the first essence of EA kind of taking the turn that they now are essentially. So I read somewhere that essentially Freakstyle, which was a game that Steven wanted to take a bit more time into developing, execs basically kind of said, nah, we'll handle it and sort it out, make it anyway. And I don't think Steven really had much creative control in that one. And the ratings were pretty much, it was still good. It was 81 on Metacritic, but it wasn't to EA standard. And then when Steven now came and he made NBA Street 2, that garnered a 90 out of 100. So everything that Steven touched and he took time with and he was willing to, his main aim was to always kind of transform the experience of traditional sports. Essentially, that's how you have street football. That's how you have extreme SSX, X Games sports. That's how you have, NBA street ball. That's how you have NFL street. Real gritty, but raw iterations of a traditional sport.
Because all of those games, in essence, captured the raw. I mean, not the raw, but the the face value of each sport.
Yes.
So it was like you still have to score a goal.
Yeah.
You still have to score a goal in the means of the way that you need to score.
Yeah, the foundations were there.
The foundations were all there, but
Right.
it's like, let's change the way you score the goal.
Yeah.
Let's change the way you pass to different players.
Let's make it more physical.
Let's make it more physical. Like you have to, step on people's backs to do a certain thing.
Yeah.
Like, you have to run across the wall to do a certain thing.
Yeah.
Like you have to fucking do like helicopter tricks with your snowboard to
Yeah.
do something to like land on this pipe over there, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
like essentially all of the foundations were still there.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's what made those games
what they were, yeah. And it's nuts as well because SSX was, I think it was the first SSX or Tricky, was basically one of EA's highest rated games.
Yeah.
And it just shows you how someone like Steven building a team and having a team, which was a very small team, was no more, I believe, than 100 or so.
Yeah.
People just really being like, how can we transform this experience? And the moment where it changed was in 2007, where EA basically started making changes. So they laid off 11% of its workforce. They got rid of
quite a lot.
Which is a lot. They got rid of 12 facilities. And basically there were loads of different processes in terms of getting games to the point where they had to go to. So instead of it being, Steven's got this idea, one exec looks at it, says, all right, cool, bet, do it. There was processes.
Yeah.
There was chief and head chief and senior vice chief and this and that. And you got the head executive and the chairman. Before they were like, okay, cool. Maybe before you even get to the senior vice exec chief of the north side, they're probably like, change certain things.
Pretty much.
And that's what kind of led to the downturn of what EA Big basically became. And it was nuts because EA Big was able to capture a point in time within gaming, which I don't feel like we'll be able to get again.
Nope.
Especially with the way that AAA titles and heavy story games and open sandbox like Last of Us or Horizon or Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny you mentioned that because we don't have EA Big right now.
Right.
But if you look at EA's catalogue of games that they're making, it's kind of like you should have just kept them. Because, for example, you still have Need for Speed.
Yeah.
Not developed by Black Box no more, but it should be, essentially. But you've got Need for Speed, which is their AAA racing game, every 2 years. You've got FIFA, which we'll talk about that in a separate video, and EA's obsession with FIFA.
Yeah.
But within FIFA, and when they introduced FIFA 20, I believe, with Volta Football, FIFA Street. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
Let's just call it what it is. FIFA Street. And now you've got Skate coming back.
And also, I completely forgot, sorry to cut you off, NFL basically had a version of that as well, I believe in either 20 or 21, where it's basically like NFL Tour, NFL Street.
Yeah. So essentially, they kind of do have EA Big, but it's not EA Big. It's EA Small.
Yeah.
It's EA Small. It's EA Small.
Yeah.
Because you've got Volta Football.
Yeah.
You've got Need for Speed.
Yeah.
You've got
the elements in NFL.
You've got the elements in NFL, and then you've got a skate game coming out.
Yeah.
In the near future.
Yeah.
And I think
they've also. I'm not sure whether. I'm
not sure if they got a snowboarding game.
I don't think Steep
so.
is. Is Steep?
No, Steep is
Steep's
a
not
Ubisoft
EA.
game.
It's Ubisoft, isn't it?
But there is another snowboarding game coming out, but I'm not sure if it's under EA. I don't think it is.
Cool.
Don't quote me on that. Cut this out if it's not. But anyways, so essentially, EA does have elements of EA Big still in it,
right? And
they should kind of tap into that and bring it back, because people do miss that.
Yeah, of course.
Because after almost, it's been over 10 years since we've got a skate game.
Yeah. And
because the community has been still playing Skate 3 to this day.
Yeah, community still
there are people still playing Skate 3 to this day, 10 years later, on Xbox 360 and PS3s. I've still got my PS3 because I want to play Skate 3.
Yeah, you want to play Skate 3,
I've got an Xbox One and I've got an Xbox Series X and I've downloaded Skate 3 on my Series X. So I've got 2 copies of Skate 3 on 2 different platforms. Yeah. Because I love that game so much. Yeah. And they've heard that and they're like, do you know what? The community needs another skate game. So we're going to bring another skate game.
I hate the fact that it's been 10 years, but yeah, I completely agree. I feel like when you look at what happened to EA Big and sort of the way in which the industry is moving now, where they're kind of doing the whole adding this small little elements here and there. It's just like for me, it just reminds me of the whole doing a sequel to a film that was released back in the 80s in 2020. Like, it's just like, just flipping, give us something already that we want.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
I'm not asking you for a remake.
Like, Star Wars is the perfect example. Because all those films were released in the 80s, and then we got no Star Wars films up until modern day.
Yeah. And I mean, it was one of those ones where, because it's been so long, you now are plagued with the past. And so you release the films and then the community hates it.
Yeah, because like, where were you when we needed you?
Exactly that.
And not only that, but it's like, with times changing and stuff, people expect kind of either the same thing that they had before, which gives it that nostalgic value, or they want you to embrace the modern stuff, and they want you to utilize that to its full potential. So when you don't do that, it's kind of like, I would have rather had nothing. Yeah,
exactly. So I do hope that EA does something with regards to sort of listening to the community within that regard, but I think it's just kind of drowned out by the noise of pro clubs, which I do kind of take part in, but it kind of just drowned out by the whole FIFA pack.
We'll speak about that in another video, because like I said, EA's obsession with FIFA is just something that needs it just needs its own video.
It does, because there are also other mechanics that I sort of listen to on other gaming related channels and pieces of content that's actually quite fitting for the other video that we'll do. But we want to know, I want to know, Yuri wants to know, what are your thoughts on EA Big? How did it impact you? What was your favorite game from EA Big? What are your thoughts on it? You know, was it one of those ones where you thought about it and you just remembered that it didn't exist anymore? Or was it one of those things where you really miss it and you want to have it back? Or you just don't really care? Like, let us know. We would love to know. As always, if you enjoy the content, you know what to do. My name is Archie.
My name is Yuri. Stay safe, stay sane, stay big.
Fam, you're switching it up every episode. Oh my goodness. You're taking the piss, bro. Yo, peeps, thank you very much for watching this video. Yuri didn't just up and leave. He just went to get a ginger shot, so he'll be right back. But if you did like what you watched, we do have other videos. We do have other pieces of content that you can enjoy. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and appreciate you watching and appreciate you divulging and entertaining us as we go through this journey of Challenge Player 1. Peace.